Hello and welcome to another episode of Legion by the Numbers. My name is Joe Eames, and in this episode we're going to be looking at whether or not you should take the Clone Commander upgrade, personnel upgrade, in your Phase 1 clones. Now we're going to look at two scenarios. We're going to look at the DC-15 and the Z6 clones, and kind of your typical loadouts for each, and look at the Clone Commanders and kind of go through the numbers and the stats on them and what they do, and talk a little bit about the strategies. Now, before I get into it, of course, I want to remind you to be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you like this kind of content, I'm really enjoying producing it. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if there's any other scenarios you'd like me to look at. And of course, you can always use the dice simulator yourself to look at more scenarios yourself. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with the DC-15. So we're going to give our Phase 1s the DC-15. And we start off with just the regular Phase 1. We're going to use this as our comparison number. We're going to look at reliability or efficiency, of that Phase 1 DC-15 with and without the Clone Commander upgrade. The Commander upgrade gives you Inspire 1, which it's hard to really quantify the points value of Inspire 1, but it does give you the reliable one. So you're always going to have one Surge token available to you, either for offense or defense. And the nice thing about clones is because they can share tokens, the more of these you have in your army, the more Surge tokens you're going to have available to you when you get a key Surge on a die result that you need to be either a hit or a block. So we'll start off with just the Phase 1 regular Clone Trooper. We don't need any gear on them. You can give them targeting scopes, but we won't give them that. We'll just stick with them at 88 points. And that gives them 2 red, 5 black. They do have a critical 1 as well. And then most of the time, we're going to assume you're going to have that aim token. Now we're going to simulate shooting at red defense die in heavy cover and look at how much damage we do. So shooting red defense die in heavy cover, we're going to do 1.81. Now let's go and outfit them with the Clone Commander. So that takes them up to 98 points instead of 88, but it gives them that 1 Surge token. So let's see what the difference is. So with the Surge token, our average damage is only going up just a little bit, from 1.81 to 1.87, and the efficiency's gone down a little bit, from 48 down to 52. So, and of course, that's going to be because of that critical 1. The first Surge that you get, you're going to want to make that a critical instead of a hit because of, cover. So it makes a much bigger difference to have the critical than to have the Surge token. If we were shooting at something maybe that didn't have cover, let's go back to the regular DC-15 without the Surge with no cover, 2.78. And with the Surge token and the Clone Commander, 2.86, the efficiency, again, just isn't really much better. Now, of course, the dice don't play averages. You make a roll, you might get 0 Surges, so you can't even use the critical. You might get that 1, but you might get 2, in which case it really can matter. But on average, the DC-15 isn't a great choice for your Clone Commander. Now, one thing to talk about again is it does, the efficiency is only a little bit worse. It's about 10% worse. You do get that Inspire 2, but the Surge token can not only be used for offense, it could be used for defense. So let's just look really quick. If we were using, say, a DC-15 with a name token, and we are shooting against red, no Surge, defense dice, and heavy cover, which would be also a Clone Trooper, we saw before we were doing 1.8. But what if that Clone Trooper did have 1 Surge? Remember, because of the reliable 1, you get the Surge at the beginning of the round. So you have it even if the very first unit that activates shoots at you, you still have that Surge token. What does that Surge token do? Well, that brings the damage all the way down to 1.34. It makes the chance that you're going to take no damage between misses and rolling defense dice from 11% all the way up to 21%. So it makes a pretty big difference having that Surge token. In fact, what if you would normally think a dodge token is going to be better than a Surge token. What if instead of a Surge token, you actually did take a dodge? Is that any better? Well, isn't this crazy? But look at this, the average damage has actually gone up if you dodge instead of having a surge token. So it's kind of wild to think about this, but on these red defense units, a surge token is actually more valuable than a dodge token is. Just the way that the statistics work out. Really interesting about that. So making a unit a lot more survivable makes a really big difference, because you get shot at the beginning of the round, you spend the surge token on defense, so now you don't have it to shoot with, but what you do have is one more unit. So going back to these guys, when they're shooting against something that's red and heavy cover, if they have the surge token, as we saw before, they're doing 1.87. What if you'd already spent that surge token? What if you got shot and you were going to lose one unit, right? So you have the surge, you decide not to spend the surge token, instead you kill one of your units. Now you go down to 1.54. So the surge token is much better spent to preserve the unit than it is to do damage. You get a lot worse damage out of the surge token than you do out of having one more unit. So preserving that unit improves your damage a lot more than having additional surge tokens. So still, when it comes down to it on the DC 15, the clone commander makes some difference, but we kind of saw that the efficiency definitely wasn't there. It was less efficient. It does add the survivability, but it was less efficient than without the clone commander. Now you can kind of get a little bit of that by switching from the clone commander to the specialist. You can really generally only use him once a game, maybe twice, and you don't get that surge token until after you actually go. But that raises another good question: what's better, the surge token or to have another aim token? So let's just look at that really quick. We're going to go back to a regular full unit red and heavy cover. Without a surge or an aim, they're going to do 1.36. Now, if you could take the aim or the surge by itself takes you to 1.4. The aim by itself takes you to 1.8. So aim's a lot better than a surge when it comes to having the specialist. But you can use the surge on defense. So if you're really trying to worry, if you're not going to attack, you just got to keep this unit alive. You're going to dodge. You can use that action to get yourself a surge, but you can also use the action to take a dodge. But as we saw before, surge is actually more valuable than a dodge in a lot of cases. So you can get a little bit of that by, instead of doing the commander, doing the specialist. I do like the specialist. He's pretty versatile, and it keeps you the points cheap. Now let's look at our other scenario, which is the Z6. So in the Z6, we'll go with just the clone trooper, and we're going to go with, of course, targeting scopes. That's 89. Arguably, you'd make this the specialist just to increase the number of aims that you're going to get. So 90 points. So let's head that over. 90 points. We don't have the red. Instead, we have 6 white. We don't have the critical. We're going to assume we mostly have the aim. Red, no surge, heavy cover. Now we're doing 1.6. And if we do have the clone commander, we're now up to 99 points, but we have a surge token. So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, the damage goes up to 1.9, and notice the efficiency has actually gone up. Instead of costing us 54 points for every point of damage, it actually has 51. So the clone commander is even more valuable on a Z6, assuming you can get that one aim token. So if you have the points in your layout, the clone commander, great idea for your Z6 unit, having that surge token available, having a couple of them in a ball so that you have surge tokens available when you need them for either offense or defense. A great strategy, really can improve the power of clones. So there we go. There's our analysis of using the clone commander with your phase 1 units. I hope you like this video, and hope to see you in a future video.